that like button. We need some more people in here. The replacement of Israelites with European Jews. Let's get the culprits that's behind this conspiracy.
Yes, sir. This is Psalms chapter 83, verse number 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
One consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against God's people.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
Ezekiel 35. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. And prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. Thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity hath appeared.
Houston, we see you on the steerable, over. Roger, Eagle, I'm done. Roger, how does it look? The Eagle has wings. Roger. Contact light? Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Therefore as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me.
Hold the truth of the way, because that which may be known of God is manifest, for God hath shown us. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even the eternal power and knowledge, so that they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither was angry. It became vain in their imagination, their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God to an image made like the corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creatures. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, and dishonored their own bodies within themselves, changing the truth of God into a lie.
And have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord God, When the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord.
Edom is today the so-called white man or European. Okay? The Roman Empire, the Greeks, they're all Edomite empires. Okay? And I know some people out there, I understand, ignorantly believe that the white people are Japhetic. Why? They're living on Japhetic land. So they look at Ashkenazi and say, well, Ashkenazi means a son of Japheth or Gentile, not realizing these people don't have no historical understanding of the conversion. How the Edomites converted and how they began to what? Through war displace Japhetic people in Japhetic lands. They don't have that history. I'm going to go into some of that today. Okay, to help them out. Because if you don't understand who Edom is, you don't understand world history, biblical history, or prophecy on any level. The greatest war on earth is between Jacob and Esau. That's the greatest war on earth. And it started in the belly of a black woman by the name of Rebekah. Read Genesis 25. That's the greatest battle. Two children fighting for the same promise. Rulership, power. There'll never be equality between Esau or Jacob. Either Esau rules or we rule. Period. Now, of course, the Jews have a problem. The Jewish people today have a problem with Christ because they know, according to the Bible, the Old and New Testament, Christ is coming back to bring our rule. So the synagogue of Satan have rejected Christ and have aligned themselves with Satan. Let's go. Let's identify these culprits.
Psalms 83, verse number 6.
Come on.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom, number 1.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites, Arabs, don't ever believe, brothers and sisters, that there's or what you would call, and I'm speaking of the pinnacle of religions, never think in your mind that there's a fight between Islam and Christianity. When the Bible is letting us know the head conspirators is Edom, who's over the Catholic Church, the European Church, who've hijacked it, and the Ishmaelites, who are Arabs, Saudi Arabia. They're the co-conspirators against Israel. No wonder all the places they go colonize and proselytize. At the end of the day, it's our people in these conclaves called churches or mosques. You see that? At the end of their missionaries are poor colored people, black people, people of color. You notice that? So don't ever believe that there's a fight between Islam and Christianity. They're working together against us. David is breaking down that conspiracy. We'll be better off if there's no churches or mosques in our communities. All of them need to go. Every last one of them. They have divided us. And on the surface, we're fighting each other due to this religious divide, when both of us are suffering by the hands of the Europeans and the Arabs. Are we not? Are we not? Come on.
Of Moab and the Hagarenes.
Let's make sure you understand when it says Moab. Okay? Moab isn't speaking about Chinese and Japanese. Okay? Chinese, the original Chinese and Japanese people and the people of Europe were Asian and are Asian people. Any biblical historian or even a regular historian understands this. That the Mongoloid people, who they would deem Mongoloid, were living predominantly in ancient Japhetic lands. When it speaks of Moab and Ammon, it speaks of, common sense would tell someone to actually go get a map, an ancient biblical map, to see where Moab and Ammon were, the geography of Israel. And to see on the outside of that geography, you will see two countries that borders the land of Israel. So when I hear these brothers and sisters be teaching that Moab and Ammon is Chinese and Japanese, it's like, I'm like, don't you know you discredit any level of biblical history? Like you're discredited. You don't understand prophecy or anything if you believe that Chinese and Japanese are Moab and Ammon. Get yourself a map. Moab and Ammon resides on the borders of Israel till this day. Stop listening to these crazy teachers teaching you that crap. Okay? That's the core reason for the war between Palestine and European Jews today. Because the Palestinians, who are Moab, which are the Palestinians, and Ammon, which are the Jordanians, they began to go into the land once the Romans destroyed our forefathers. When we were scattered, those people started to go back into the lands in our lands. So when the Europeans went to take that land back, claiming to be us, they went to war with Moab and Ammon. That's your Palestinian war, folks. God. I'm like, dude, have you, listen, I got a whole box in there that it took me a truck, a dolly, to bring a box of books, Jewish encyclopedias and all that, just the other day that came here. Okay? I don't just talk about something, and a lot of these young brothers that be out here teaching, they be just saying anything. Whatever they teacher tell them, they just regurgitate. I used to regurgitate that stuff in the 90s, so I don't blame them fully. But then I started doing some research and looking at, biblical history and ethnicities of people in the Bible. And I say, let's start with a map. And I rolled out a map to point out all the regions and wars that were chronicled in the Bible. And I'm like, well, hold up. When did Moab go to China? Where's that history? I'm like, Lord, have mercy. But you know, that's part of the conspiracy, to throw people off concerning the characters within the Bible and not be able to identify the enemies who have conspired against us. See? Go ahead.
Verse number 7. Gebal and Ammon.
Come on.
And Amalek.
And Amalek. Amalek is the Jewish people, folks. And I'm not speaking about any Jewish people, because there's a lot of European whites who have just converted into Judaism, who are not from the head families like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. I'm talking about the hierarchy of the European nation, the white people, including the Pope, are Amalek. Go ahead.
The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Verse number 8. Assur also is joint with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor, and became as dung for the earth. Jumping down to verse 12. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession.
Let us take unto us the houses of God in possession. So at the end of the conspiracy, lawyer, it's saying what? If we lie to them, take their name from them, we'll be able to use them for slaves. Okay? By taking the identity of Israel and eradicating that bloodline and that culture from them, we'll be able to use these people's children from one generation to the next as possessions and slaves. See? Because why? If these people understand they're Israelites, you'll understand that what? We are a free people according to the Bible. We're not the child of the bondwoman, but the free. See? We will look forward to the promises according to Christ. Let's read this according to Christ real quick. Let's go to the book Luke 1 and 68 real quick.
St. Luke chapter 1, verse number 68.
Let me make it clear, brothers and sisters. I need y'all to focus on the lesson. If I see you diverting the lesson in the chat, I'm going to have to turn the chat off or delete and block you. Please don't be talking about any medicinal use or any use of any drugs within our chat. Okay? Look at your communities. Okay? Go outside and look at your communities and tell me how cannabis have benefited any of us. Don't be bringing that stuff up in our Sabbath classes. I'm going to tell you straight out. Look in our communities and you tell me, what good has any drugs have done for our people? How would that benefited us? The word is to make us free. This is to heal us. I'm going to say it one time, and I'm not going to say it again. Dell, I'm going to need you to just block, delete anyone that's diverting the chat going forward. Let's go.
St. Luke chapter 1, verse number 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people.
He has redeemed, visited and redeemed what?
His people.
His people. See, and this is why the majority of people in the earth, the Gentiles, are against the Bible. Because they know that Christ has come to do what?
Visit and redeem his people.
We need a redeemer. He came to visit and redeem his people from this conspiracy. Okay? To save them which was lost. To teach us the truth so that the truth can make us free. Why? The Gentiles conspired and lied on us. Lied against us. Continue to do so. See? Read.
Verse 69. And have raised up an horn of salvation for us and the house of his servant David.
In the house of his servant David. Go on.
As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Come on.
That we should be saved from our enemies.
This is what Christ came for, brothers and sisters. That we should be what?
Saved from our enemies.
Saved from our enemies. Psalms 83 tell you the enemies make a tumult. They have conspired together and taken crafty counsel against God's people, and said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Now, by doing so, you have now Europeans claiming to be Jews. Showing you what? Conspiracy accomplished. But now, the Most High have brought forth in these last times an awakening. Okay? The lion has been awakened. The children of Israel are waking up throughout the four corners of the earth, and the Gentiles can do nothing about it. They're scrambling right now. We're leaving their mosques. We're leaving these controlled slave churches and coming back to the knowledge that we are, in fact, through blood, through our bloodline and genealogy, the children of Israel. The bloodline of promise. We're the promised seed. And it doesn't minimize any other people's worth or position on earth. Okay? What's the problem? Gentiles who have a problem with black Israelites, with black Jews. Or, better yet, with the Israelites being black like the Bible said they were. You never had a problem when Europeans claimed to be Jews. What's the problem now? Okay. Come on.
Verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies.
From our enemies.
And from the hand of all that hate us.
And from the hand that all that hate us. Right?